Welcome back to Wellness Lenses, where every conversation is a deep dive into mental wellness. In today's video, we explore the fascinating and complicated world of psychological issues that are faced by two distinct generations, Gen Z and Millennials. Before we start this journey, I want to reassure you that it is not a competition of suffering. Instead, it is an exploration of the unique problems that each generation faces. After this talk, you'll have a better idea of what these minds go through every day on a psychological level. If this is something that appeals to you, please consider subscribing to our channel for more content on mental health and psychology. First, let's talk about the big, most obvious issue, the digital revolution. Millennials grew up at the start of this tech wave, but Gen Z has been riding it since birth. The fast growth of technology has completely changed how these generations talk to each other, learn, and see the world. For millennials, growing up on the edge of this technological wave meant getting used to the change from analog to digital. However, for Gen Z, technology is not an adaptation, but an essential component of their existence. A worrying link has been found between more screen time and higher rates of depression and anxiety. The study by Twenge and Campbell, which was published in the journal Psychological Science in 2018, has shown that unrealistic expectations and a sense of inadequacy can result from being constantly exposed to curated lives on social media platforms. A dichotomy between the digital self and the authentic self is created by the pressure to uphold a flawless online persona, which adds additional stress. Also, technology has made it harder to tell the difference between work, social life, and personal time. The idea of switching off has become difficult for people of both generations. A state of perpetual alertness brought on by the constant influx of information, notifications, and virtual interactions can make it difficult to relax and unwind. The digital dilemma includes more than just personal interactions. It also includes the power of online communities. While social media brings people together from all over the world, it also exposes them to harmful ideologies, cyberbullying, and unrealistic beauty standards. When the virtual world doesn't match up with reality, the search for validation through likes and comments can become a dangerous endeavor that lowers self-esteem and causes a sense of isolation. Now, let's talk about the socioeconomic challenges that affect both Gen Z and Millennials' mental health. After the 2008 financial crisis, Millennials came of age during a turbulent time. There were long-lasting effects on the economy, which led to a very competitive job market and a rise in student loan debt. Major life decisions, such as choosing a career and delaying home ownership and family planning, were impacted by these financial difficulties. When we move on to Gen Z, they are dealing with a different set of economic uncertainties. The gig economy and short-term contracts are becoming more common, which has changed how people think about job security. Constant adaptation and upskilling are required in the global job market, which is characterized by rapid technological advancements. Anxiety about the future can be caused by the pressure to stay relevant in a constantly changing job market. Student loan debt is still a big problem for Gen Z, as the cost of college education keeps going up. Stress and a sense of vulnerability can be exacerbated by the prospect of starting a new job with a heavy financial burden. Having a lot of information about the world and job opportunities at the same time as a very competitive job market makes things even more stressful. Also, the idea of reaching financial stability and milestones like homeownership, which were once seen as signs of success, seems harder these days. The dream of being financially independent is put off, which is bad for the mental health of both generations. In addition to having an impact on finances, these socioeconomic strains also affect mental health. Feelings of inadequacy, imposter syndrome, and increased stress levels can result from the constant juggling of economic uncertainties and societal expectations. Understanding how Gen Z and Millennials' experiences are affected by the economy is important for building empathy and dealing with the mental health issues that come up because of these situations. Now, let's talk about how identity and activism have a big effect on the mental health of millennials and Gen Z. In their search for justice and recognition, both generations have been at the forefront of major changes in society, pushing the limits and questioning the rules. The fights for LGBTQ+ rights, gender equality, and racial justice were front and center as millennials grew up. Their identities were shaped by these fights, which made a strong link between personal experiences and larger social movements. The fight for acceptance and representation was a big part of how mental health has changed over time. As people struggled with societal expectations and the search for authenticity, Gen Z is continuing to fight for social justice, building on the work of past generations. Through unprecedented levels of connectivity and mobilization, the digital age has made their voices louder. Gen Z's involvement in societal issues is intersectional and dynamic, ranging from climate change activism to advocating for inclusivity. This activism has had a multifaceted psychological impact. On the one hand, joining a movement that shares your values can give you a sense of purpose and community, which can be good for your mental health. On the other hand, seeing systemic injustices and doing something about it can be very hard on your emotions and lead to burnout and compassion fatigue. Also, people are constantly bombarded with information in the digital world, which makes it hard to disengage from the problems of the world. Stress levels can rise as a result of the pressure to stay informed and actively contribute to social change. Identity formation is also different in the digital age. Both self-expression and potential venues for judgment can be found on social media platforms. The struggle for authenticity and the curated nature of online personas make the process of building an identity even more complicated. A 2019 study from the American Psychological Association shows how discrimination hurts people's mental health across all generations. Gen Z and millennials both have to find a way to fight for justice while also taking care of their mental health when there are problems with the system. Now, let's look at the coping mechanisms Gen Z and millennials use to deal with the challenging world of mental health. The rise of the self-care movement helped millennials, who are often referred to as the burnout generation. People in this generation turn to wellness routines, mindfulness, and meditation as ways to deal with the stress of their busy lives. In an effort to regain control and balance in the face of societal pressures, the focus on self-care was widespread. Gen Z has developed coping mechanisms that are unique to their relationship with technology as they grow up in a world dominated by digital connectivity. Online communities and social media platforms have become important parts of their coping mechanisms because they provide safe spaces for support and self-expression. Sharing experiences, asking for advice, and getting in touch with people who share your interests can help you feel like you belong and understand others. But the digital world can also be detrimental to your mental health. As people compare their lives to carefully curated online personas, the constant comparison made possible by social media can lead to feelings of inadequacy. The pressure to follow the lifestyles and beauty standards pushed on these platforms makes mental health issues even more complicated. As a means of coping, both generations use different kinds of creative expression. These outlets offer a cathartic release and a path to self-discovery, from writing and art to music and activism. For some people, the creative process helps them work through feelings and describe experiences that are hard to put into words. It's important to understand that coping mechanisms change over time. Still important, self-care and creative expression are. The digital age has brought about new ways to get help. Tools for self-reflection and professional guidance are now available through online therapy and mental health apps. The stigma associated with mental health has also gradually lessened, which has made it easier to talk about it. These conversations were started by millennials, which helped to break down barriers and enable Gen Z to put mental health first without worrying about judgment. The importance of a multifaceted approach to coping is highlighted by research studies, such as those done by the National Institute of Mental Health. A holistic understanding of mental health can be achieved by combining different approaches, such as social support, healthy lifestyle choices, and professional intervention. So, who really has it worse? To be honest, it's not a matter of comparing. The problems that both generations face are different because of the times they live in. By understanding these problems, we can help each other and show empathy. Always keep in mind that mental health is a spectrum and that everyone's experience is valid. As we talk about this complicated subject, let's build community and understanding, remembering that everyone's journey is unique, but still important. If you found valuable information in this video, please give it a like, share it with your loved ones, and don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.